hear other points of view can be as unhealthy on the left as on the right. Feel free to disagree with somebody, but don't try to just shut them up.
Joining me now is John McWhorter, linguistics professor at Columbia University and author of The Language Hoax. Good to see you. So this is the first time the president has spoken out about this. He's not such a fan of political correctness on college campuses, and you and I have talked about it. So what is this that's going on? Isn't it better, rather than shutting someone down, to listen to what they have to say, so then you learn how to argue against it?
Oh, no, not when it comes to racism is what these people are thinking. They're thinking that there's certain things that are off the table. And, let's admit it, there are some things that are off the table, even if you're going to talk about free speech. We're not going to have a discussion about whether or not women should vote. We're not going to have a discussion about whether genocide is good. These people are proposing that racism and that which offends me is the same sort of thing, that all of a sudden free speech doesn't matter because we're talking about something where all the talking has already been done, and therefore they feel like they're in the right to shut down any kind of discussion.
Where does this come from?
This starts, I think, with the interest in what's called microaggressions, and so what we used to call it's the little things, the kind of racism that's just little pecks, little things that are annoying. That started being discussed extensively on college campuses about 4 years ago. Add to that Black Lives Matter and the protest model, and you have a combination that makes a lot of students feel that what their job is to show that the campus is a very racist place and to show it in extremely uncompromising terms as if this were the same thing as people walking across a bridge in Selma.
All right, and you write about this, you said this last month in your article called Closed Minds on Campus, talking about microaggressions and all these protected safe spaces, whatever. You said too often the definition of microaggressions is so broad as to condemn almost anything a white person says or does. It is forbidden to associate someone's color with any particular trait because it is stereotyping, but then it is also forbidden to say that one doesn't see color at all and to question a person of color's claim of being discriminated against. What begins as a plea for compassion becomes a kind of bullying.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have the kind of thing where it begins with sense. There is a such thing as a microaggression. I've felt them, I'm sure you have. But when you get to the point that you can define just about anything a white person does or says as a microaggression, what you're really doing is bullying out of a sense that somehow white people deserve this after all of these years of racism. And the problem is, it's not constructive. And it essentially just creates strife because even the best-minded of white people are going to push back against that.
But do you think that we're creating that, somehow, I should say we're creating, a whole generation of whiners are being raised and where other opinions don't count except for your own opinions are the only ones that are protected, but other people's opinions are not protected. So every little offense, every little thing offends you.
Now, I don't know if it's a whole generation, but in a way, what we're seeing is a little bit more disturbing because I think a great many people, probably the majority of people of color on a college campus are watching a lot of these things. Some of them feel it's overblown. Some of them aren't interested. But one is not to talk about that kind of thing, especially if one is a person of color. So the idea is that this way of approaching these things has a place at the table. And that's a problem because this place at the table is one from which people feel like they're being enlightened to tell everybody to shut up.
Yeah, when you write in the piece, you talk about James Meredith. You said none of these people has gone through an experience like a James Meredith. And certainly an experience when I was in college in the 80s.